welcome back.
Yeah.
You know, that search for calm, for mental quiet, it feels like we're always looking for something out there,
Right.
some place we need to get to. But what if the path to peace is simpler, closer? Okay, let's unpack this, because today we're diving deep into something really fundamental. Making peace with your own mind. And look, this isn't about, giving up or losing ambition. Not at all. It's more about finding a constructive, a mindful way to look at life. Our source today, Path to Inner Peace and a Fulfilling Life, it's packed with wisdom. And our mission, well, it's to pull out those practical bits, those insights that can help you build a life that feels more balanced, more fulfilling.
Exactly. And what I find really interesting here is that the path isn't painted as some, mystical quest. It's really less about discovering something totally new and more about just shifting how we see things, how we see what's already here, our own capacity for calm. So this deep dive, it's kind of a shortcut maybe, a roadmap to understanding how inner peace is, well, actually within reach for anyone who's willing to look inward.
That's a perfect setup because, yeah, it often feels so complicated, but the source really boils it down nicely. So let's tackle that first core idea, maybe the most foundational one from the source. Living in the present moment. Sounds almost, well, too simple, doesn't it? Just be here now.
Yeah.
But actually staying present. That's where the struggle is for so many of us.
It really is. And the source explains why this is just so crucial for finding that inner peace. It says our minds, they get hijacked, by the past that's already gone or all the worrying about the future that hasn't arrived yet. And when that happens, we completely miss the only place happiness actually exists.
Okay.
Just right here, right now, in this moment. The insight is that we're always chasing happiness like it's somewhere else, somewhere in the future, when actually it's available right now.
Right. And that's the real challenge, isn't it? It's not about never planning or totally forgetting everything that happened. It's reclaiming this moment. So what does the source give us, practically speaking, to anchor us beyond just, the idea?
Yeah, good question. It offers a very grounded approach. Talks about practicing mindfulness in daily life. And this isn't about needing, long meditation retreats or anything like that. It's about weaving awareness into everyday things, whether it's eating, walking, or even breathing, just noticing. The idea is that these small acts, they become powerful ways to understand the value of the present moment more deeply. They let us consciously reconnect with what's actually happening instead of getting swept away by our thoughts.
So the really big shift isn't just knowing you should be present. It's realizing the tools are already here in every breath, every step we take. It completely reframes happiness, not some future prize, but something available right now if we just, tune in. Okay, so if living in the present grounds us in time, this next principle, it grounds us more in our identity. The source talks about embracing your unique journey and releasing comparison. Wow, this one really resonates today, doesn't it? In our super connected world.
Oh, absolutely. The source really highlights how recognizing that each person has their own rhythm and life journey liberates the mind from meaningless comparisons and competition. Yeah, it's a powerful idea because it pushes back directly against all that external pressure we feel, to fit in or to win. The text says it so clearly. Our path doesn't need to be like anyone else's, and no one needs to follow our path either. Just accepting that, letting go of those outside benchmarks, it's incredibly freeing.
And the source doesn't just suggest this, it's pretty direct, like a command almost. Don't compare yourself to others, especially now with social media everywhere.
Yeah.
How vital is this advice for just staying sane?
It's absolutely vital. The source calls comparison the thief of joy. And that feels more true now than ever, I think. We're just swimming in these perfectly curated snapshots of other people's lives. It's so easy to forget that everyone has their own problems and challenges behind the scenes. So the source's advice is, shift your focus completely. Instead of looking sideways at others, focus on improving ourselves compared to yesterday. It suggests that celebrating our own small achievements brings more lasting happiness than competing with others. Echoes Chris Rubin saying growth is personal. It's your journey, not a race.
Right. Looking inward, measuring yourself against, yourself from yesterday, not constantly checking what everyone else is up to. And the source points out that accepting these differences in ourselves and others, it leads to understanding and compassion toward ourselves and others. That seems like a massive step towards peace right there. Seeing everyone, including yourself, with a bit more grace, less judgment. Okay, now this next one might raise a few eyebrows because it's often misunderstood. The idea of being humble and modest as a path to peace. Humility sometimes gets, a bad rap. People mix it up with weakness or low self-esteem, especially when the world seems to reward big talk.
That's a really important distinction that the source makes, yes. It clarifies that Humility doesn't mean looking down on yourself. That's key. But recognizing that there's still much to learn. That reframes it completely, doesn't it? Humility isn't about being less, it's about being open to growth, open to discovery. And the benefits are real. Being open to listening to others' opinions, accepting mistakes, and being willing to improve yourself is what leads to genuine growth. It's basically embracing being a lifelong learner. And beyond that, the source also notes that humility helps us connect better with others and reduces conflicts in life. When you're not constantly trying to defend your ego or prove you're right, you create space for real understanding, for collaboration, for deeper connections with people.
It sounds like a pretty radical shift from that sort of always need to be right culture we often see. So how does that specifically help reduce our own internal noise? Not just arguments with others, but that inner battle. How does it foster peace inside?
Well, I think it's because it allows us to let go of the ego's constant craving for validation. When we approach things with humility, we're less attached to this idea of being perfect or, never making a mistake. That cuts down on so much mental stress, the stress of striving for some impossible ideal, the stress of keeping up appearances. It's really about accepting imperfection in ourselves first, and that naturally makes it easier to accept it in others too, which, paves the way for a lot more peace, both inside and out.
That makes sense. And building on that idea, accepting ourselves and others, the next points really show how our view of other people directly impacts our own peace.
Yeah.
We're talking about our expectations of others and that tendency we have to judge so quickly.
Oh yeah, these two are definitely linked. And the source hits them head on. First, don't expect others to be what we want them to be. The source says, quite rightly, I think, that most disappointments arise from the expectations we place on others. Just think about it. We project our own hopes, our ideals onto people. Then we feel hurt when they don't meet them. But why would they? They're them, not our projection. So the antidote, according to the source, is accepting that each person has different personalities, values, and ways of thinking. That acceptance helps us reduce disappointment and increase understanding. It's a powerful call, really, to love and accept others for who they are, not for what we want them to be.
Wow, that's a huge shift from trying to kind of sculpt people into our ideal shape to just embracing them. But how often do we even notice we're doing that? Placing those unspoken demands, and just how much inner peace do we burn through holding on to those rigid rules for everyone else?
It's often totally unconscious, isn't it? And the cost to our peace is enormous. We waste so much mental energy on those unmet expectations. It fuels frustration, resentment. This perspective helps break that cycle. And then there's the other side of the coin. Don't rush to judge too quickly. Which feels almost like a default setting today, with information coming at us so fast.
That's so true. It's almost a reflex, right? Slap a label on it, categorize it, done.
Yeah.
How does the source suggest we fight that ingrained habit?
Well, the source points out that in this age of abundant information, we might hastily judge things without careful consideration. It's just too easy, right? Form an opinion on a headline, a soundbite. The advice given is crucial, I think, for both our own peace and just better interactions overall. It says, pausing for a moment before expressing opinions, listening to various perspectives, and being open to diverse possibilities. Doing that will give us better wisdom in decision-making and reduce unnecessary conflicts. It's basically a call for thoughtfulness, for considering things more deeply instead of just reacting. That helps build a clearer and definitely more peaceful picture of the world.
Just imagine the mental space that could free up if we really practice those two things, releasing the burden of expecting people to be different and stopping those snap judgments. It's not about being passive. It's about cultivating like a deep reservoir of calm. Okay, now this next principle, this one might really challenge some core beliefs. I find it particularly interesting. It's okay not to love your job. I mean, that flies right in the face of so much we hear, doesn't it? That pressure, find your passion, make your work your everything.
Yeah, the source has a very candid take on this, refreshing even. It states, pretty bluntly actually, that a truth many people don't want to accept is that not everyone will find passion in their work, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
It actively counters that whole idea that your job must be your primary source of joy and meaning. It clarifies that sometimes work is simply a tool for sustaining life, not the main source of happiness. And that's okay. It's not apathy. It's just perspective. Redefining success, maybe. And importantly, this isn't about just, resigning yourself to being miserable at work. It's more about reprioritizing where you look for fulfillment. The source suggests that if your job isn't lighting you up, then finding meaning and joy from other aspects of life, such as family, friends, hobbies, or helping others, might be a more reasonable choice. I think the real insight there is powerful. When you stop demanding that your career be your entire identity, you actually open yourself up to finding fulfillment in lots of different places, it makes you more resilient, I think. It's really an act of self-compassion.
So what does this mean for you listening right now for how you seek fulfillment? And maybe think about the pressure you might be putting on your job to be, well, everything. It's an invitation, isn't it, to ask yourself, are you chasing some societal script about loving your job, or could you find more peace by accepting your work for what it is and consciously cultivating joy elsewhere? It's a really powerful chance to redefine what a successful, fulfilling life looks like for you, on your own terms. Wow, what a journey through these principles today, really diving into making peace with your mind, from being present, embracing your unique path, to humility, handling expectations and judgments, even rethinking work. It feels like a really holistic approach to finding that inner calm.
It really does. And if you step back and look at the bigger picture, that core message from the source's conclusion, it ties it all together so well. It really emphasizes that inner peace doesn't come from everything being perfect. That's not the goal. But from learning to accept and adapt to life's imperfections with an open heart, mindfulness, and compassion toward ourselves and others. So it's not about trying to create a flawless life out there. It's about cultivating a resilient, accepting, peaceful way of being inside, no matter what's happening outside.
Yeah, it's such a critical distinction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, not chasing perfection out there, but cultivating a better approach to life, imperfections and all. So as you go about your day, here's something for you to think about. A final thought. Of all the things we've talked about today, all these insights, which single principle really jumped out at you right now? And maybe how could you start weaving just a little bit of that into your day, starting today? Just think about that one small shift. It could make a huge difference on your path towards inner peace.